What is good, everybody? Hello. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm pretty sure I got this set up the right way. I'm getting smooth with this. What is everyone doing tonight? ISO Serenity, you're always first. I always see your name first. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. Skipped out on your wife's advances during our pre-bedtime routine for this. All right, well, I appreciate that. I'll definitely try to make this well worth it. So, welcome, Crypto Panda, my man, asset to the community. Welcome, my friend. AJ Rip City Hex, what is good? Welcome to the chat. What is good, everybody? My name is Jenkins. A lot of you guys know me by now, but for the people that don't know me, I am a Hexican, obviously, because I'm on this channel. But I do live technical analysis for you guys. I break down the crypto charts, specifically HEX. I was a big-time trader, very good at trading. I've been trading for years and years, but I made the conscious, and smart decision to stop doing that now that I found out about HEX. And discovered Richard Hart in the past, however many months or years now. But so basically what I do is I bring not the trading mindset, but I bring the trading eyes to HEX. I try to add that value to the HEX community. I like to look at the charts and pick out certain areas based on where I would buy and sell, in a normal trading pair, just to let you guys know, show you guys where price can eventually end up. And usually we're pretty good at it, nobody's perfect. No one can predict the charts. That's just the truth. If anybody's out there thinking that they can predict the charts or go 100%, if they were trading or whatnot, they're lying to you. They're wrong. But what I like to do is just bring that, market technical analysis eye to the community for you guys. So the people, I know a lot of us here in the community bought HEX because of what it is, the actual tool itself, which is something that's, next level. It's an unbelievable tool that does change, lives. And it's changed my own life, I think everybody in this, chat room, in this community can speak highly, of HEX. There's not really one person that can say anything bad about HEX, especially if you bought it. The only people that say bad things are the people that missed out on it, and the people that wish, they got, something out of it, or the people, but with that, yeah, like I said, so the people that are basically here for the investment. I want to show you guys, you guys check your Staker app every day. And don't get so pumped up when the price pulls back. Well, I like to give you guys reasons what to expect, why, and like to show you guys how the markets pull back, how a market works, and why these pullbacks that HEX has are necessary to create healthy market structures. So get a drink of water. But yeah, so I'm going to break down the HEX chart. And really, if you guys were on my stream last week, nothing really changed. I mean, the price is kind of at exactly where it was last week. I told you guys have been seeing me everywhere on Twitter and stream talking about that 10 penny range, 10 to 10.8. I want to see that range touched again before we have our next impulse up. My sentiment is still the exact same. And right now we're at a critical area. So the cool thing is price hasn't done much in the past 7 days since I was on, stream, but at least, price has given us more, action to kind of go off of. So without further ado, so when I'm in the charts, I'm not really checking chat. I'll check chat after I'm done going through everything. But yeah, I just like to get right to it for you guys and not really beat around the bush, because you guys are here for, the information. So let me provide that. Everyone can hear me, so that's good. But yeah, so basically, like I said, the markets haven't changed too much. So I'll just give you guys a recap of what happened last week and what I said, I wanted to happen. Show you guys what's happening, and then today I'm gonna do something a little different. Like I said, I used to be a trader. I used to use a ton of indicators that help me trading. I'm not an indicator guy. I like to look at simple price action and just see where the money's at and keep it nice and easy for everybody. But today I'll show you guys a few different tools that you may or may not have seen before, and show you how these tools are correlating with HEX and why I'm even more bullish on HEX after showing those price targets. So basically, last week when I was on stream with you guys, we were right around this area. Let me go on the 4-hour chart to see the exact area we were at. We were right around here. We were right at the top of this big, rectangle, the gray rectangle, the 13.6 range. That was our major target that we had mapped out for, the last 2 months. If you watch my streams, we've been waiting for this major area to be tapped. And it finally got tapped. But now you can see, now that the price, is kind of, the smoke has settled a little bit, price calmed down, Now we're back in that area. So that just confirms that the area that we've been looking for is a massive area, because we've been here for, since July 13th, 29. It's been almost 3 weeks now since we've been around this area, which is good, right? So now we're just looking at key things to see if this, 13.6 area is going to hold as a support line, or if it's going to rip through and turn into a resistance line. And last week I told you guys I wanted to see the short-term resistance touch down back to 10 cents. And hopefully, have that next push up, which I do believe will happen ultimately. So for those that missed last week's stream, I just had a simple pattern I wanted to see. There's 3 to 5 wave patterns I like to look for in the market. So what I kind of saw here was this, wave 1 off the top, wave 2 is a pullback, wave 3 is the massive push down, wave 4, and then wave 5, I wanted to, create this and go straight down. It's not going perfectly, so the price is holding stronger than what I expected short term, which is a good thing. But I still, being the trader, mind that I am, I want to see this price, get filled. And also there's one key level I pointed out last week. It was this big doji candle. So anytime you see a candle like this, these are the greatest candle prints you can, ever ask for, in the chart. So whenever you see a big push up followed by a small push down with the big wick, it's kind of like those candles that trick you to think that there's a top in fold or in play. And then, the next candle just rips up. Whenever you see a doji candle, no matter what direction it's going in, typically price just erupts after that. And as you can see, we had the doji, the massive push up from, 10 cents all the way to the 13.6, the top of our target. We had the natural pullback because it's a big area, and then we just kept pushing up. So whenever you see a doji like this, that means 2 things. Price is going to move one way, depending on which way the doji is pointing. And 2, it means there's a lot of money sitting there in that level. There's a lot of buyers and sellers, a lot of bids sitting there. So the reason why I want to see price get back down to there, because, bids were there at one point before. That means bids are still sitting there again. So once we had this first, 17-cent drop from the top, by the way, 17 cents, that was a major Fibonacci level that we had mapped out when we look at the grand scheme of things, which I'll show you in a little bit. But the 3 big targets I had when I first joined social media for you guys were 11 cents. We obviously crushed that. 17 cents, which is that level right now, then 25 cents. So 25 cents is the next target. We'll get to that. But 17 cents did not surprise me, or surprise us, because we've been doing this together looking at this. 17 cents did not surprise us, being a short-term top. So this is good, healthy structure. But with that being said, once we got the top, I wanted to see, price come back down to this range. And we did have the big, massive drop. I know you guys saw that big wick that went down to, 7.5 cents that one night, but it didn't last long at all. But if you really just kind of look at it, where does the candles open and close? Wicks are, they're okay. Like, they are good data because they tell you where price was once at. But I like to see a nice, healthy open and close where the candle actually starts and finishes to show kind of where the more steady money is at in that period of 4 hours. And if you look at that, you see it closed right around this 12-cent range. And we have, another bottom over here too. So this is one big level, but if you look at the wicks, kind of where price was just zapping at, you can see right where this doji was at, that 10.8 range, the wicks both really tapped that and couldn't break it. So that's why, looking forward, I want to see this 10-cent range not just get wicked. I want to see it get fully fulfilled. I just want to see a normal, healthy, candlestick pattern, just a couple candles, get us down here, chill here, and then bam, we can take off. I also told you guys to not on my Discourse Syndicate stream, but I did one on my own channel looking at all the cryptos, that I would not be surprised to see the rest of the sacrifice phase just kind of drag on and see price slowly go down, because, there's a big trading game that I feel like a lot of people are playing. And whenever normal people play a trading game, you're not going to outsmart the markets. You're not going to outsmart the people that have, the majority of the liquidity in them. So because of that, people are, hoping for higher prices while the bonus amplifier is still in effect. And I just don't think, after we got that day one push, that was a great time to sacrifice after we hit that, top. And then people that are waiting for another push up, it could have happened, right? Because HEX does pump abnormally sometimes, but in a healthy market, you just don't expect that. Just looking at technicals, but also when you put, 2 and 2 together, it's just not going to be that easy for everybody to get that much money off HEX in a sacrifice phase during a time when, millionaires and maybe even billionaires, are out there trying to maximize their dollar and compete against you and that, bonus ladder. So it's a fun game being played. We see this played in normal markets. It doesn't surprise me to kind of see it being played right now, but yeah, would not be shocked to see HEX come back down, touch that 10-cent range. Once we touch here, like, this is not financial advice by any means, but I would buy the dip. That might be it. That might be the last 10-cent touch, and then we're going to a quarter. Next major target, I have that mapped out for you guys. So yeah, so I'm still, that's my sentiment overall. We are creating a nice bull flag. So just to look back at real quick, I know these log charts or whatever minimize the old candles, but back when we finally broke that 2-penny range, we had that huge impulse. This was back early May. We had a huge impulse in HEX, broke all-time highs. We created that picture-perfect bull flag that everyone was talking about on Twitter. They're like, oh, a bull flag, really cool pattern, picture-perfect. What happens? Price goes up. Obviously, price did go up after doing that, right? The thing is, what we're doing now is the exact same thing, and I'm going to show you guys why, because, like, look at this. It's just an even bigger. If you thought that bull flag was good, look at this bull flag. It's more of a pennant pattern, but still, it is sort of, you got the flag pull right here, and then you got the flag. I just want to see that flag just come and touch down at this range right here, right? But I feel like HEX is stronger than what I was, I think that, not what I was hoping for, but what the technicals kind of show us, because instead of us creating that picture perfect bull flag like how we did back in early May, it's creating more of a pennant. So instead of this flag just being horizontally down, it's like, or being almost vertically down, or kind of going down like a negative 45-degree angle. It's kind of just bottomed off a little bit right here. So it's kind of creating like a downward triangle or a descending triangle, or a pennant pattern, or whatever. You can call it whatever you want. There's so many names for all these patterns. But that's usually a strong thing. But looking at this with just a trader mindset real quick, if you're trading, you want to see, double bottoms, triple bottoms. That shows where money's at. So there's one bottom, another bottom in the same range, a third bottom, fourth bottom. I mean, potentially, we're in the midst of this right now, but I made an analogy the other night. What this is doing is kind of like the same thing that Ethereum is printing right now, but imagine you're just holding the basketball. You drop the basketball, it bounces high at first, and then, the bounce gets smaller, bounce, and it starts rolling. And then by the time it kind of drags people out and tests everybody's patience, people, lose their patience and make decisions that, aren't really logical in the charts. That's what the markets do. They'll drag you out, make you way too patient. And then in trading, this is called like a liquidity capture. Once you build up all these bids at the bottom, a seller is going to come in, just move the price way down, tap a zone typically where there's like old price action, and then move its way up. So HEX is printing like really good trading analysis too, even though we're not trading HEX. But things are looking real good. Those are a couple, simple things. But let me show you guys some other cool stuff. So I'm going to show you guys a new tool that I always use when I was trading. Let me try to delete off a lot of this clutter too. But there's this tool called the Ichimoku Cloud. Okay, very cool cloud. I use it a specific way, okay? So there's a generic way you use it, but I have my certain settings on here. Those don't really matter, but let me just show you some things about how it works and what it's been doing, and then show you like what HEX is, potentially doing right now and creating. What has HEX been doing in the meantime, okay? So typically indicators aren't very valid when there's not a lot of liquidity. So back, in 2020, early 2021, there wasn't much liquidity. You see all these wicks and gaps in the candles. There's not a lot of liquidity there. So I'm going to skip past all that because the indicators really, matter when a lot of liquidity gets pumped in. But once we had that massive, like 4 or 5 month, sideways trading action, that's when a lot of price finally broke into HEX. And then we had that huge push up. We broke out of that price trap, flipped this top support line into a resistance, or a top resistance line to a support line, and then had that huge bull flag. Well, that's where the liquidity started to fill up, and that's where I started looking at this, Ichimoku Cloud to kind of see what is HEX telling us. So this cloud right here, where you see like the red cloud and the green cloud, that's a moving like resistance and support area. Okay, so as the price moves on, this cloud prints out areas where you might see price respect that zone. Okay. So in this scenario here, this isn't picture perfect, but you see price had the impulse up and the cloud actually formed really thick. So once you get a thick cloud like this is typically an area where you might expect price to kind of, bounce and hold that zone and explode off of. Anytime you see price break under a cloud, it usually goes down. But that's not the only thing you have to pay attention to on this specific indicator. Whenever you see, price above or below the cloud, you want to pay attention to the Tenkinson and Kenshinson line. That doesn't matter. Just the red and blue line. Whenever you see this red cross above the blue line, that's usually a sign that the momentum's shifting and the price is going to move that way. Whenever you see the price cross below, that usually means the price is going to move one way. So why do I bring that up? Well, if you see this red, let me make these thicker actually if I could. Give me 1 second. Oh, wait. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to make these thick for you. Line thickness. It's gonna be super thick, but just for informational purposes. I changed the color. Whoops. I meant to make that thicker. So see this thick red and blue line. So what do we see here? Once we got that first spurt of volume and liquidity in HEX, we saw this red cross below the blue, and then price moved down following that. It did break through the cloud, so this isn't picture perfect. But the thing is, this cloud showed us where the first very major level of support was all in this range right here, around the 1.5 penny range. But once we kind of broke under the cloud, we didn't rip all the way down because the price is staying strong. But what do we see here? See right when this red twists with the blue line and it breaks above, and then that's called decimal twist right here. So the first thing you have to see is the red cross above the blue, and then you see this green cloud turn red. Usually when you see a green cloud turn red and the red cloud stays small, right when it turns green, that's the actual Kumo twist, okay? So we had a Kumo twist right here, and then the red cross above the blue. What happened immediately after? Well, the price exploded up, okay? And there's a reason why I'm bringing that up, and hopefully this makes sense. But once we topped off that first, high after the massive explosion. By the way, there's a doji candle too that I just pointed out. Always look for those dojis. Massive push up, small candle down, and then it just rips up right after. You see those everywhere. But yeah, so we had the top. Price kind of slowed down finally. The red cross below the blue. It didn't push down too much, but it did push down for a little bit. Each candle is 1 day at a time. But in this scenario, you see the cloud right here. The price separated so far from the cloud because it moved so fast, but it eventually slowed down. And it only went down. The bull flag stopped, ironically, exactly where the cloud is at. So that moving support area that we have here is where we respected. So what happened in this scenario? Well, we respected the cloud. The red twist above the blue. What happens when the red twist above the blue? Well, price shot up. It kind of hit a double top right here, create a triangle. But it came down, respected the green cloud, came down again, respected the green cloud, pushed up. Red almost twisted with the blue line again, but it stayed strong this time, and then bam. So ultimately, once the red crossed the blue, that was the start of our next impulse, okay? Now, we had another impulse that looks the exact same way. We had an impulse turned into another bull flag. What happens? The bull flag, we topped off at 9.5 pennies. This is back in early June or middle of June. What happens here? The red crosses below the blue. That shows us price is going to slow down for a little while. Price slows down. Ironic enough, again, it does not break through the cloud. The cloud stays as a nice support level. It shoots up, respects it. But once this bottom kind of was respected, you see the red line inside the cloud crosses above the blue. Well, that means it's time to probably, buy that dip. That means the momentum has finally shifted. So price shoots up. Didn't shoot up super fast, but shortly after you saw this red cross with the blue and it respect that green cloud, what happens? Well, look at this massive. This is the push up that we just had at the start of the sacrifice phase, okay? And yeah, we topped off at 19 pennies or whatever. And some exchanges show different levels. I'll say 18.5 pennies. That's where the most solid price was at. But now where are we at? Well, the red cloud, crossed way below the blue cloud. But this is kind of a manipulated pattern at this point. This impulse was so strong that the data being printed in the cloud is not going to be that valid at this point, just because that was such a strong push up, which is a good thing. That means HEX is moving way too fast for the indicators to keep up with. And that's why I'm not a big indicator guy, because indicators are only as good as, the price allows it to be. Because whenever something like HEX wants to take off, well, no indicator is going to work. That's why I like to just look at price. But for the intent of, I guess, education on this video, I want to show you guys this indicator just to show like HEX is really, holding strong. But same thing. This is the 4th time in a row. We're getting another bull flag. We're pushing down the red cross below the blue. It was such a, violent cross below because that massive wick. That wick that we had that night down to 7 pennies or 7.5 pennies caused the red line to go this low. But if you look at it, price was respecting this tiny little cloud with the little data that we did have. Right now it's under the cloud, but which is good. It kind of gives me a reason to think that whenever the red crosses below the blue line, it doesn't stay much lower. But this is good to kind of back up my analysis on wanting to see 10 cents, because look, as you see now, this red line looks like it's about this red and blue lines getting ready to cross, sometime soon again. Eventually, the red will cross blue, probably cause that push down. And then that push down, hopefully, just keeps us in this range, around that 10-cent range I was talking about. And then we'll see that red hopefully, twist up. But so what I do see happening is this red will cross below the blue on the daily chart on the Ichimoku. We're going to push down to the 10 to 10.8 penny range. Let's say 9.5 to 10.8 penny range. Once we touch there, we're going to, form a solid support line. And then we're going to see the red cross back above the blue. And we're going to see another Kumo twist. That's something we haven't seen in a while. We see the green line, the green cloud turn red. Well, once this red cloud turns back green, that's an official Kumo twist. We might see that align perfectly with the red and blue line twisting after we, touch the 10-cent range. And then that'll be our next big impulse. And that next big impulse, oh, I deleted that. Or I'm hiding it. But that next big impulse, I see, coming all the way up to our 25-cent range. So everything's looking good. Structure's holding well. If you use indicators, it's looking good. If you're just looking at simple price action where the money's at, it's looking good. So everything's looking good in HEX. I know HEX is really testing our patience right now. We're not really if HEX is testing your patience, don't worry. You're in it for the long run. Stake your coins, not financial advice, but stake your coins. You don't have to worry about the day-to-day. Get those T-shares because whether price is going up or going down, we're getting paid daily for it. But yeah, the structure's looking so good. But I definitely want to see this yellow box. I'm going to keep this yellow box here every stream. So follow back. Want to see price come touch it, respect it, and then take off, okay? So that's the Ichimoku indicator. I wanted to just show you guys that just because, it's a pretty cool thing, and the price is aligning pretty well with it. And here's another thing, too, why I think the price is going to push down a little bit short term, but it's getting ready to turn around. If I show this MACD indicator to you guys, this shows some really good stuff. So we had a double top here, which was basically off this top and this top. The MACD, this is actually the strength and volume. Obviously, with this massive push up, it gave us a way bigger mountain. So it didn't create a triple top. It just broke that. But anytime a big mountain is created on this MACD, let me make it big. Anytime a big mountain is created in this MACD indicator, it has to slow down. Like, this is good stuff. This means price is pumping. That's one top. We had this mountain top create this top. We have this huge mountain top create this huge mountain top. So what's happening? Well, if you look back at the bottom of this, where the dark green comes back and touches the blue line, well, that happened right around the bottom of this bull flag, right? Well, where this, dark green touches the blue line, it actually made a small red hill right at the bottom of this bull flag area, right? So what's happening now? The MACD it created a huge mountain. Price inevitably has to pull back. That's what a healthy market does. And the green line is touching the blue. And we might create a small, red mountain right here, just like how they created. We never know. But once, we create a small red mountain and it just flips back up to green, we'll probably see this price, be in this range by that time, hopefully in that 10-cent range. And then we'll create that next big green mountain. We'll see the next big green mountain on the MACD. We'll see the Kumo twist on the Ichimoku, and then we'll see HEX pump create the next big mountain all the way at 25 cents. So it's looking good. It's all looking good. It's just testing our patience, and I think the sacrifice phase has a lot to do with it. The sacrifice phase is the biggest reason why we had, The sacrifice phase is the biggest reason why we had this initial pump, but it's also the biggest reason why we're having this long, dreadful pushback or pullback for the people, that are wanting price to go up, early. And who knows? Nobody, like I said, there's no crystal ball. I can't predict the market. This can turn around at any time. But me being, the person I am, seeing the markets with a trading mind, this is something I want to see. So there's that. That's one chart to show you. And I know you guys like seeing the Fibonacci chart, the Fibonacci pattern too. So let me show you guys that now. Let me see. You guys love the Fibo, so let me show you guys the Fibo. I might as well check, some of the comments real quick. I'm not trying to get too far behind you guys. Yeah, what is good, everybody? Sorry, there's quite a few comments. I'll get back to them at the end of it, just so the people that watch this video, they can get straight to the point with their technicals, and then we can have fun later and have some conversations about HEX. But I'll get to your comments, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. But let me pull up this Fibo for you guys. So I got some cool stuff to show you guys on here. So nothing. Let's lead to this chart perfectly, make it perfectly clean. Because I showed you guys a bunch of indicators. So now let me just show you guys simple price action, because you don't need indicators to, figure out price is going. Where the money is at is determined by where the price is at. And all you need to know is where the money is at to figure out where the price is going, right? It's super simple. So the Fibonacci makes it the easiest. So let Where's my Fibonacci at? Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong place. So let's go from the bottom all the way to the top. This 1.0 range. So you guys know I'm not going to explain the Fibonacci too thoroughly because I do that every single stream. But whenever you see so I'm going from the bottom of price all the way to the top of, our most recent pump, right? To the all-time high, from the all-time low to the all-time high, right? Anytime you see the Fibonacci go from 0, which is the bottom. Oh, wow, it's way under. Hang on 1 second, guys. I almost cheated you guys. Well, anytime you see the price go from 0 all the way to 1 and we have that pullback, what's the range that I always tell you guys we want to see? It's that 618 Fibonacci range, 0.618. So you want to see price hit that 1.0, and then you want to see it pull back to a 618 level. Whoops, that's a bad one. So anytime you see a big impulse, you want to see a correction. You always, and a good determining factor on where that correction can end is usually in a Fibonacci level, and then that next impulse comes. In this scenario, we have a huge impulse in price. I mean, this is not like a perfect wave. Obviously, this is almost 2 years worth of price. But just to show you guys a key level, if you eat this most recent pullback that we're having, this 618 level is this red line I have right here, the most important level for a pullback, right? What is that price at roughly? On here, it's at 11 pennies. Okay, so that 10 to 10.8 penny range. I mean, it all depends on how you put your chart. I mean, I can perfect this Fibonacci and put it at the very top, and I'm sure it's at the exact 10.8 penny range. But you guys get the point. That exact range I have highlighted on the other chart is exactly where the 618 level is on this current pullback, and we're just creating nothing but a bull flag. A nice bull flag. So let's just touch that 618 level, go back to 10 cents, and then let's take off. So. That's looking good, but let's look at some long-term levels that we can keep our eyes out on in HEX, because that's what everyone loves, right? We love those long-term levels. So whenever you have new all-time highs, the best way to project the next level is simply just looking at the future 618 levels. So once you get past the whole level, the next short-term target's always going to be the 1.618, which is right here. And I put on a ton. I put the next 5 major targets on here for you guys. 2.618. 3.618. This 4 is actually the wrong area. Let me fix that real quick, actually. Let me make that a 4.618. 4. And if you guys need to know if you guys want to know how I got these Fibonacci levels, literally take a screenshot. I'll leave this on there for like 20 seconds. Go to your Fibonacci, take a screenshot of this, take a picture of this. These are the levels that I have. You guys can have the exact same levels as me. I just want you guys to know that. Like, I'm no genius. I just use the same free resources that we all have access to, and I try to make them as simple as possible. If I can learn them, you guys can learn them. So here's how I have my Fibonacci lined up. I just make my 618 red for demonstration purposes. But yeah, the 4.618 is this level. 5.618 is our ultimate level. This is the most exciting one, right? Because that 5.618 is all the way at $1. Okay, 99.6 cents, right? But the thing is, our future Fibonacci 618 levels are already touching $1. And I know we know HEX is going to $1, right? We know it's going there. But it's just cool to see. Like when HEX first got to a penny, it's kind of like, wow, HEX actually got to a penny. We knew it was going there, but it did it, and it was awesome, right? Excuse me. And then 10 pennies was like, oh, 10 pennies. Richard's lighting the candles. We're gonna, excuse me, keep burping. 10 pennies. Richard's gonna light the candles. 10 pennies is that next major target. Well, we got there, and it happened kind of quick. We didn't get to enjoy that 10 penny too much. That's also another reason why I want to see that 10 penny. It was such a major psychological level that I want to see that major psychological level be flipped into a true support line before we move up. So the 10 penny range is key. But yeah, now like the next thing is $1, and we're like, okay, we know HEX is going to get to $1, but it's like now it's in sight. Now we can actually see it. Now we have the sniper pointed at it, and it's within striking range. Okay, but yeah, the next few levels to look out for, and I put this on a video the other day. This is a 28-cent range, but I like 25 cents. 25 cents just because of everything else we looked at short term. But the next major Fibonacci level is 28 cents. That all but guarantees 25 is going to be our next impulse, right? The 2.618 is at the 48-cent range. I had that at like 45 cents or something the other night, or 43 cents. The 3.618 is at 65 cents. And that's where I had that Twitter video where I showed you guys the next 3 targets. But the 4 and 5.618, a little bit longer, 85 cents and then 99.6, which is $1. So this is the first stream I have where HEX is legitimately in sight, looking at $1. So $1 is right around the corner, and it's cool, it's awesome, right? But that's just another stepping stone. Like $1, it's going to excite a lot of us because we're invested into it, right? Imagine those T-shares. How many T-shares, I mean, how much HEX are you guys getting paid daily right now? Whatever that number is, imagine every one of those being worth $1. And now that's residual income. That is residual income for hopefully 10, 15 years you guys locked that up for. But this is legit residual income, you know, and this is not only combating the inflation and the deflation of the US dollar, but this is outperforming, you know, other high performing assets like Ethereum, Bitcoin, anything else in crypto, right? But yeah, so to keep it simple, I'm not going to dive too deep and complex in the Fibonacci level, but $1 is in sight. How do we get there? Well, we haven't really recreated this massive 2020 pump, but say something that has already happened in the past happens again. And this isn't just like, oh, let's imagine a massive breakout. No, let's just imagine that HEX does what it already once did before. So I'm gonna measure this from basically we're priced down here. Sorry, let me just zoom in on this for you guys. Basically, where HEX kind of just moved sideways for a little bit from March 20th all the way to about April 20th. For a whole month, HEX moved sideways. Then we had that massive rip up. Well, we topped off at 1,000%. This is 1,025, but let's keep it simple. We're at 1,000%, which is basically 11x. What if, you know, the sacrifice phase ends and, you know, the snapshot date comes out where like, oh, everybody, snapshot's happening in 2 days. Buy your HEX. You can buy one, get one free. What if people buy up the price from the time sacrifice phase ends to the time where, you know, the actual snapshot or actual fork occurs? Well, we can recreate that scenario. What happens if we recreate, you know, another 1,000%? And let's go off my range. This is 10.8 pennies. I want to go off 10.8 pennies. What's our 1,000% move? It moves so fast. I'm trying to get perfect 1,000. That's how you know it's meant to be. Well, 1,000% move puts us at $1.21. You know, 121, and that's just doing what HEX has already done before. So this is gonna happen. But let's just set our sights safely. Let's go. Let's get to $1. Let's get to $1. Enjoy that. It's only an 810% move from here, right? Only, quote unquote, only. But what do we mean by only? Well, this last impulse that we just had. Look at this. This last impulse, this bull flag that we created at a penny and a half, all the way to the top here. That's 1,000. Just it's almost 11. It's almost 1,100%. But this is 1,000%. We just had 1,000% move. So what stands out about this? HEX is known to make 1,000% moves like this. But the second time it happened, look at this. It moved in a healthy structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave pattern. You guys know me mildly at waves. It moved in a 5-wave pattern, 1,000% move. So let's give HEX a break. Let's let it catch its breath a little bit. Let's let it pull back, rejuvenate, re-energize, calm down, bounce back off this 10-cent range. About 10-cent range. But now the new 10 cents, 10 cents is going to be the new 1 cent. So once we break off of that, that next 1,000 wave move, 1,000% move is going to happen, and we're over $1 before we know it. And then what's 1,000% from $1? Well, it's $10. I know Wales Only, one of the most well-educated people in the HEX community. He has $10 HEX by December. And if there's one man I believe outside of myself that talks price, it's him. You know, I don't fully see that just yet, but like he's shown me a lot of things that I had to hear him say it first before I believed it. But once we get to $1, that's only a 10x, and we've done 10x's, nonstop. So $10 by the end of the year, that it's starting to look more and more believable. But let me just be me and just stick to the technicals and just look at what the price is giving us. I could definitely see $1 by the end of the year. I'm not lying to you guys. You guys know I'm conservative. I can definitely see $1 by the end of the year. The end of the year would be precisely right here. It's crooked, but the top of the line is where the end of the year is. And I can definitely see that 1,000% move. What do we have? July, August, September, October, November. Just 5 months. We have almost half the year just to do another 10x. Like, Pulse Chain's going to drop too. The snapshot's going to happen. People are going to get their buy one, get one HEX. The stars are aligning, ladies and gentlemen. Just stay patient. Instead of focusing on the HEX price right now, just focus on those T-shares, how much you're getting paid right now, and enjoy that. Enjoy that. So that's that. So there's the charts for now. I'll show you guys enough charts. I tried to keep it simple, introduce to you another, an indicator. Just look at simple price action, look at Fibonacci. That's that. Let me show you guys some other cool stuff. It's not chart related, but just look at the numbers, right? Let's look at the numbers. First, let's go look at the Pulse sacrifice numbers just on the Ethereum chain. And then I'll get to the comment section later on, and then we can have a fun conversation. $675 million has been sacrificed on the Ethereum chain, right? That's an impressive amount of money. Do I feel like all the big money's made that sacrifice yet? No. Once we get down to 3 days, the 1.75 potential bonus amplifier is going to end, and the last 3 days is going to be like 1-for-1 copies or whatnot, for lack of better words. You might see a lot of big money get in there. I don't. This is just not even an educated guess. This is just my hypothesis. But the HEX OA address that holds all that HEX, it's going to want a piece of that pie, right? And I think the purpose behind that origin address not sacrificing during the bonus multiplier is so the people can get their bonus, because the origin address has enough HEX as is. It's not even staking its HEX. It owns like 95% of the liquid supply right now, or something like that. So it might be like 90. I don't know. Don't quote me the number, but yeah, out of all that HEX that the OA has, I mean, a lot of that's probably going to get sacrificed for 2 reasons: just to get some of that liquidity out of the origin address, but to put it in that safe haven of the sacrifice address. We're pretty sure that sacrifice address isn't going to sell any of that HEX that it gets, which is a lot. I think it was like 400 million of this was HEX alone. But the origin address obviously isn't selling any of its HEX. It's diluting itself by not staking, letting us get the rewards. Well, the origin address probably is doing that same strategy here. It's not sacrificing during the bonus so we can get the rewards, but it's probably going to sacrifice on the last 3 days. Those last 3 days, we can see the turnaround. We can see that 10-cent touch, and then price move back up. Would not be shocked to see that. And I also want to be shocked just to see the origin address just buy pulse up with HEX. Or no, they actually want to be smart. It would be really smart too. Instead of converting EHEX to pulse and dropping the EHEX price, it makes sense for an origin address to at least sacrifice some of that, right? And let me know if that's a bad take, because that could be a bad take. But I can reason with that in my head. It makes sense in my head. So let me know what you guys think about that take. But I would not be shocked to see the last 3 days see some big addresses like the OA get in, just to get HEX, that wallet, have it kind of split up the HEX a little bit, and also put it from one safe haven that's not going to sell it to another safe haven, which is the sacrifice address. So HEX is going to be safe, Pulse is going to be safe, and it's just smart theory. We already know Richard Hart's genius, his understanding of the markets. I would not be shocked to see that. So some impressive numbers. I'm pretty sure probably over 800 million once we factor in all the crypto coins, if not more, but we're definitely going to be worth $1 billion by the time Pulse Chain drops. Now, that does not mean Pulse Chain is going to have $1 billion market cap from the very get-go, right? So don't confuse $1 billion sacrifice to $1 billion market cap. It's going to start off at 0. The market's going to determine the price of Pulse Chain, and then we're going to buy it from that moment on. What I do see happening, and like I said, this is just my theory, not an educated guess or anything. I do see $1 billion worth of, actual money that could be thrown into Pulse from that sacrifice address. Maybe the sacrifice address is going to be the biggest Pulse whale, kind of like how the origin address is the biggest HEX whale, and I can see the sacrifice address using a lot of that money to buy up the price to at least make sure Pulse Chain starts off at a more expensive, not starts off, but starts trading or available to buy market at least more expensive than what the sacrifice dollar or sacrifice Pulse miner getting. That's probably a bad explanation. So basically, for every $1 you spend, assuming you got in early, every $1 you sacrifice, you get 10,000 Pulse. Basically, to make sure that you don't get a cheaper price than the sacrificers once it goes live on the market, we would need Pulse Chain to be worth more than 0.001. That's why I had a tweet saying that I think Pulse Chain will start off, at least be available at 0.001. And then, 100x was my, estimate, thinking it's going to get to a penny in its first year. I could be way wrong. That this is literally me. This is me, like I said, just with my theories, trying to put 2 and 2 together. But in order for Pulse to not be cheaper than it was for the people that are getting it for free in the sacrifice phase, it would have to be at $0.001. Okay, so 1/100th of a penny or whatever. And I can see that happening. I can see it being at 0.0015 or 11, just a little bit higher than what it would be to get it for sacrifice, plus the bonus for the sacrificer. So I still ultimately think the people that got in the sacrifice phase especially the first 5 days, maximize that bonus because you're getting double the amount essentially. And there's a lot of people out there I see on Twitter talking like the bonus is only going to matter to the whales. That's true, but I don't think it's true, but it's not true, right? Because let's look. I mean, if you look in the top 100, the top sacrifice is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, 29.5 million. That's a 2.5 bonus you're going to get. Go all the way down the top 100. This is going to load for me. Hang on. This is loading a little slow. So you don't even need $1 million to be in the top 100. So what that means to me is that no, there's not only a few select whales that are going to maximize this bonus. You can put in $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 and see a massive, massive bonus in terms of like millions, hundreds of millions of extra pulls for sacrificing. So I just don't agree with that narrative that some people talk about on Twitter saying that the bonus is only going to apply to the whales. No, we see, you know, a lot of the, and these aren't all the sacrifices, don't get me wrong, but I mean, just on the Ethereum chain, which most of the liquidity is at, or the price is at, for money, you don't need $1 million to be in top 100. Are we all millionaires? No, but it's just kind of, I feel like that invalidates the point that people make when you don't need, I mean, you do need a lot of money just to get something. No, you can get by, and you can still get a massive bonus for being early and putting in whatever you could, you know? So don't give up hope, but I just don't see Pulse Chain hitting the market for us at cheaper than what it would be, at a better rate than what we are getting in the sacrifice phase. So that's my thoughts on Pulse Chain. Let me just go check one more thing for you guys. We're going to take a look at Nomics, and then I'll check the chat, and then yeah, we'll do that. Nomics, how we doing? You guys see my Nomics chart? Market cap: Bitcoin 1, Ethereum 2, HEX 3, Tether whatever, Binance, BNB, you know, 5, Cardano, ADA 6, Ripple, XRP 7, Dogecoin up to 8. USDC 9, Polkadot 10, HEX, we're at 71 billion. This is nice. So just keep in mind, before the people that are getting impatient with HEX, keep in mind we were just celebrating taking that number 5 spot, right? Binance, BNB was at 46 million, Cardano's at 46 million, HEX just got to 46. It was like a 3-way tie for position 5, 6, and 7, or 4, 5, and 6. Sorry. And we were like, oh man, you know, I was saying that Tether's only performing so well because if it's in a bear market, a lot of money's being transferred to that as opposed to, you know, being put into something like Ethereum or Bitcoin that's actually going down. So I was telling you guys, you know, once we break through, we're going to catch up to Tether. It's kind of like, see, this is it's like a market. $62 billion was the resistance line that we had to touch. We were going to break out of this $46 billion range, touch that $62 billion, break through it, and then just obviously we did. We broke through it. We touched $100 billion. And now a nice healthy pullback, quote unquote, to $62 billion. Use that as our support line. I mean, not support line, but our support level. That's where, you know, we'll see HEX just take off. And the next impulse that takes us to a quarter, we're probably going to see, you know, $1.25 billion in the actual, you know, market cap. I do indeed think that Ethereum and Bitcoin are not done pushing down. Richard Hart says, you know, 10K Bitcoin. I don't know if it's going to go that low, but I could see a 19 to 20K Bitcoin. He said Ethereum could be like, you know, what, $300 to $600. I don't see it going that low, but he knows more than me. But I can see it $1,200, $1,300, maybe even $1,000, but maybe $1,300. But with that being said, I could see HEX at a quarter, push up, make all-time highs once these guys start making those new lows again, just like how HEX always does. And then once, you know, Ethereum makes that new low, we might see this drop down to like 165, 170 billion in the market cap. At the same time, we see HEX at, you know, 125. So HEX will be within striking distance of taking over that number 2 spot in the entire world. It could flip Ethereum this year, especially with the Pulse Chain news and everything. It can definitely flip Ethereum this year. I wouldn't be surprised. It just all depends on how things pan out. And then Bitcoin too. I mean, it's inevitable. Ethereum will flip Bitcoin eventually. The flipping is going to happen, and then HEX is going to flip both of them. That'll be exciting. I say this in every stream, but you know, the top 5 coins in 3 years in the entire world are going to be EHEX, Pulse, PHEX, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. Those will be the top 5 coins, you know, in 3 years in the entire world, at least in market cap. And we got that 3-headed monster all in our control. So some good things there. But yeah, that's really all I have. So let me try to scroll back on the chat a little bit, just see what's going on with you guys. AJ Rick City HEX, what is good? Bufo on the beat. I just barely discovered HEX like 2 weeks ago, and I feel like I'm too late to the party. Yeah, no, you're early. if you even know about HEX right now, you're early. A lot of people still barely know Bitcoin or understand Ethereum. You're early. So welcome to the community. Welcome to the gains. And if you feel like you're late to HEX, you're definitely early on Pulse Chain, but you're still early on both of them. Don't worry. HEX is going to be worth a lot of money one day. It's going to be expensive, and all the HEX that you just bought is going to get duplicated onto another chain. So you're early. Enjoy the ride. And I'm 45 minutes behind on these chats, so I'm not going to go through all of them. But Guy, what do you see happening with the price now? Are we still positioning towards the 25 cent mark? Yeah. So sorry, I answered your question without even knowing you asked the question, but you guys saw that 25 cent chart. But yeah, so what is T-shares? Yeah, so go to hex.com. You'll see T-shares and everything. There's a lot of people that explain HEX and everything on, the internet. I'm just here for technicals, kind of just give you guys my mind on everything. But yeah, so Crypto Pandars, it was good to you. Slight consolidation until the next rocket booms. Yeah, I agree, man. I need to get somebody on my stream with me next time so they can kind of go through the comments for me while I do this. It'll be a lot easier, so I don't fall so far behind. KNTX, what is good? Thanks for the shout, man. We got to get on stream. We haven't formally had a stream, so we gotta do this. Shout out to you. I love your streams, and he's one of the pioneers behind Discourse Syndicate. If it wasn't for KNTX, yeah, he actually reached out to me. I started streaming my 3rd day streaming, and being on Twitter. He actually reached out to me on Telegram with this opportunity. So without KNTX, man, I wouldn't be here. KNTX and RG3, so it's pretty cool. Those guys are the mastermind that brought together a bunch of brilliant minds on the Discourse Syndicate channel. So it's really cool. ISO Serenity, thanks for the shout, my friend. Jenkins is the no BSTA boss. I appreciate that. I just try to keep it, as real as I can. Fibbo is life. I agree 100%. Hex and Pulse for the win. I agree. Hex Vader, what is good? Welcome to the chat, my friend. Is it worth staking a small amount like 3,000? Yeah, and anything's worth staking. So T-shares are more rare than HEX itself. So non-financial advice, stake it. If it's money you don't have to touch anytime soon, stake it. Stake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it, and actually stake it till you make it. What is good? Hefe, what is good? Welcome to the chat. Rackham, what is good? Welcome to the chat. Crypto Gains Club, what is good? Shlomo Baggins, welcome to the chat. Like your comment here. The sacrifice bag is not being touched. Who knows? Nobody knows. What is this? Crypto Goose, what is good? Is day 17 the best day to get in now, or is day 17 the best day to get in now? Or do you see as a price surge and day 19 should throw everyone off? Yeah, so the last 3 days are going to be interesting. You might see if the origin address does make a move, it's going to be in the last 3 days, like I was explaining earlier. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this slowly just melt its way down and kind of just drag us out and test our patience. But like I said, you guys see why. That's all healthy. Rick, what is good? Welcome to the chat. You weren't able to go in the first 5 days, wait in the last 3 days. I mean, yeah, whatever works for you. Do what you got to do. Who's this? Int Pro, welcome. Thank you for the shout, my friend. And that's really all what we have. So, Pulse of the Night Hex, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I don't really have too much for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I covered everything that there is possibly to talk about. If you guys, have any questions or concerns, reach out to me on Twitter. I mean, at Crypto Jenkins, you'll find me. I try to keep it informational. I try to just post stuff about Hex and Pulse. I don't try to get too caught up in the actual social media itself. I try to just be there and add value to the community for you guys. So follow me on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. Crypto Jenkins on YouTube. I have my own channel. I don't stream too much on there because I'm using it here more often. But I will be doing a stream with some specific Hex guys. You know who you are. We were messaging, setting up something. I might have a stream coming Monday on my own channel talking Hex, going into the charts and stuff, but really getting really detailed about, these theories and hypotheses that I put together. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay patient. If we get a 10-cent touch, shout out to that. No financial advice, but buy the dip. And congratulations to everybody that did the Pulse Chain sacrifice. We are going to enjoy the ride. And if you guys, like I said, if you feel like you're late to Hex Day, and if you feel like you're late to Hex, well, you're early on Pulse, although you're early on both of them. Just have diamond hands, hold, delay that gratification, reward yourself later on. As I always say, there's a wise quote out there that once said, smart people learn from, their own mistakes, but wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So we can learn from the mistakes that people made in Bitcoin by selling it too early. Not many people bought it at a penny and held 65K. So people that regret taking profits too early in Bitcoin. Let's be the wise men that learn from them, and let's just guarantee that we aren't touching our money by staking HEX. And yeah, enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen. Next Thursday, I'll be on 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you need anything in the meantime, Crypto Jenkins on